Hello and welcome to the Merle and Locke podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shameful, helping to pointless banter, lack of focus, and questionably acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more.
So much more.
So much more. Yes, absolutely. So you have a topic for us today because...
Agitation.
Yeah, okay. So...
Sheer agitation towards certain people and certain developers. Now, we've talked about bugs. That we've established. I don't think we've gone into asking, what does it say about game developers, a business that's practicing in game development, and they do not put a user interface for reporting your bugs. If there's an issue, which clearly every game's going to have a bug. You release a patch, somebody forgets a line of code, now you got a bug. Why would you not put that in your game for ease of use for the people who might play your game on the regular? I have my certain opinions, but of course they might be a little biased because I have certain heavy feelings about behavior as of late.
Sure.
I want to call them out as I see it.
You've been playing way too much Dead by Daylight lately.
I have, and you know what? It's cancer in my soul. I probably should just not really be playing their games until they decide to change their ways. And I feel a lot of other people should do the same way. Like, if somebody's not doing the things that you would appreciate as a consumer, as somebody who's paying them money, maybe they should start catering to you just a little bit more. Just a little bit. Fix the bugs. Fix the fucking bugs.
All right. So obviously, yes, like you said, bugs are to be expected, especially with new content coming out constantly, especially like in a game like Dead by Daylight, where they're constantly coming out with new content for their players. And yes, every now and again, there's this bug. Now, I know you were saying that there is a big runaround in trying to report bugs where you have to go to an external website and then you have to log in and then log into a forum.
The first bit, from what I understand and what I was told by Jane Doe, was that you have to go to a sub forum, report it from there, then access your email, log into it there, fill it out on there. There's just a whole rigmarole that doesn't even need to happen. If you're a corporation or it's just even a big enough company, I feel like behavior at this point is just big enough. They're starting to get a little bit bigger. They're branching out. You would think, how about we set up a database for ease of use for our users, have a little button there. You click on it and you say, what is the issue? You can allow people to say other if your options aren't available, because you already know what your bugs are. Don't tell me that you don't. You guys have had this game for years now.
Right.
You should know a general consensus of what issues may be reoccurring. So have that as your basis, and then other for weird bugs that you've never experienced before.
I don't know what to say about it exactly because, every now and again, you have people or you play with people who swear that there's this bug and that bug and this bug or whatever. Maybe there is a bug, but most of the time, maybe it's just a lack of skill. And they're coming up with excuses as to why they weren't able to achieve whatever they were wanting to achieve. So I'm wondering if this whole rabbit hole that you have to delve down just to report bugs is just to keep out the riffraff, as it were, like all the people wanting to just report everything, right? So they're not swarmed with constant complaining and fussing about this, that, and the other, and they want to leave more room for people that feel as though there's a major bug that needs to be reported. And if there is, that they'll go through more effort just to do the reporting. Yeah.
I get that. I'm going to hear you out on that. However,
sure. Okay.
So I said about your buttons that you can select and be like, okay, so the bug that occurred today was a glitch where, for example, what happened today? Our buddy had been grabbed by the killer, but this is a new mode, 2v8. So he used this villain ability where it was a Wesker, so he grabbed him with his little tentacle hand. And what he's supposed to do is then do the animation of throwing him up on a hook. However, he did the usual scenario where he just lumps him over the shoulder and then carries him around. So both the killer and they could not do anything, except for the killer could still attack, which I think was kind of messed up. So he's just running around the map, and I was like, he's moving pretty fast with the body in his hands. So he was like walking around, and I couldn't help. Is it actually a bug, or is this guy cheating? And then they want him to log out, or they want him to DC, so it's an easy kill. I don't know. When you talk to them in the chat, they're like, this is a bug. I've seen it before. You just have to DC. And then you get no points, and then you get a penalty. And this is the issue that a lot of games, not just behavior, have with DCing. If you disconnect from a game, you're now being penalized, whether it's the server crashed or an issue like that. Now you're going to get penalized for having to leave a game because your game's bugged. It doesn't make a lick of sense. And there should be certain situations where you should be able to differentiate those scenarios.
I understand that, but as it is with most things, such as laws, or being reprimanded for whatever it may be, there's always a few people that ruin it for the rest of us, right? Where I feel like, especially in DBD, the amount of angst that people feel playing that game, or, amount of frustrations, what have you, people rage quitting left and right. I feel like they just said, fine, we have to punish people for this because this is getting ridiculous. This is just getting out of hand.
They've found a remedy for that. They've found bots who actually achieve much more than some of your lower level survivors that come in the game. They always hit great skill checks every time. So they're able to pop gens left and right. They are way more useful. They're not good at looping killers, but that's a different point.
Right. No, I get that.
So if you're looping killers, you let the bots do their work, and they're going to get gens cranked out. No problem.
So what you're saying is that we do away with the punishment altogether.
I mean, there should be some penalty to the people that are found out about certain issues. The people who are a little suspicious about the way their character's moving. They have issues with hackers in Dead by Daylight. That's just the way it is right now. If they feel they're losing the game, they up their little hacker thing. They get a little extra haste, and they'll crank that up and hope that it's not noticeable enough to the naked eye. This is a survivor and killer thing that's happened. Somebody's just tweaking it just a little bit, which is why it's frustrating as a player of the game. Now it's enjoyable to a certain point. Once you get put with other people, it's hell in a handbasket.
It's so easy to call out certain gaming companies for certain faults that they may have with their games. But at the same time, I don't have any solutions. I can't think of a single one. I wish I could. I wish I could just be like, hey, get your shit together. This is what you have to do. But I can't.
I got plenty of solutions other than stick one up your ass. But I have plenty of solutions that could be easily remedied in the case of reporting things. If you have an issue with too many reports, maybe have a filtration system where you filter out certain words. If there's words that hit this directory, they are now at the bottom of your importance list, and then you can start sifting through it from there. If somebody uses a certain word, you're like, no, that's not important to us. Down to the bottom of the list you go.
I'm just trying to consider priorities. If we're to consider gaming companies in general, how big is behavior? How many employees do they have? How many people do they have that are just focused on all these reports?
No, that's a good question. I mean, I don't think that they really look through the reports, to be honest, but I feel like it's when you get letters in the mail, you go, meh, and you chuck it aside unless it's from some big company that you're aware of, like bills due, and you're like, I don't want to, but next thing I know, they're sending other people after me.
Yeah, they're kicking in the doors. I don't know how they operate necessarily, but they have a great game and they push out content constantly. I imagine that they make a pretty good amount of money considering the sales of season passes and what have you. What is it called? The battle pass type thing that they have?
The Rift, which is essentially like a season pass.
I'm wondering like how much they make and if they're just trying to look out more for their bottom line. If they're not suffering, I don't see them finding any need to make more efforts on the consumer's behalf.
That speaks to another issue where you already have a toxic environment for a game and all of it is just constantly mixing. And eventually you just have this terrible environment for your game. And then it'll eventually fall apart when enough people see that this is not good or healthy for them to be experiencing this day in and day out or every weekend.
I mean, I could see that, but considering the fact that you keep coming back.
Well, eventually I'll go on another hiatus and hope that things change.
You'll go on a hiatus until you see an update that it's like, ooh.
Until they work out a deal with Jason Voorhees. Classic killers, horror genres, but everything else has been least important to me.
I wonder how many times that they've realistically had that problem where they started losing a high number of players, but then they're like, how do we get them back? Shiny. And then they get a whole flood in. Everybody comes in again, starts getting heavy.
Here's the keys.
It.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
Yeah,
look at me.
Exactly.
Look at me. Shiny objects. Over here. Look at it.
That's been the formula for how long, for how many games.
This is our turd. We just polished it.
Yeah. But I agree. I would love the ease of reporting bugs, but I don't know. I think too many people probably ruined it for us. I don't know how Behavior had done their bug reports in the past. I'd never done it myself, done a bug report. Maybe it used to be easier, but now it's just...
Whether or not it's just easier for them to rely on the people that play in their beta, that might be just the extent of it. All I'm saying is I feel it's a little bit lazy if you can't come up with a solution other than telling people, hey, go fuck off to a sub forum. Maybe we'll get back to you. Maybe we'll look into it. We don't know. Have fun. Here's a maze to do while you're at it. Maybe go search for objects out in the woods somewhere.
Go entertain yourself for a while. Grab a stick. Go play with your friends.
Oh, and give us money.
Yeah, well... Obviously. Yeah.
Obviously.
But I don't know. All in all, it's a game. I don't know that it's warranted for them to take it that seriously, except the fact people are spending money on it with expectations. And they're not exactly meeting those expectations. But I mean, oftentimes expectations are rather high and unachievable. I don't know. We can't get a perfect game. It's not going to happen.
I don't think it's that hard. I really don't.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm not asking for a miracle. I'm not saying cancer be gone. Like, it's such an easy little thing. It's not hard at all.
I tried my best to give them the benefit of the doubt here. I'm not exactly.
We're playing good cop, bad cop right now.
Yeah, that's what we have to have like a more compelling conversation.
I need a table to slam down and tell them just confess. Confess to why you're just a lazy shit.
It's all about priorities, isn't it? Money. When it comes to companies nowadays, it's not necessarily passion or something that's purely enjoyable for all who come by. But I'm not making any accusations, of course, against Behavior. I'm sure they're all fantastic
switch
people.
roles. All right. No, I got nothing really good to say.
I got to talk against myself now as I'm making these arguments, but. I'm more so willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. This is a bug that I've never seen before, and I'm sure they'll get to it. They'll be able to see it. Enough people will report it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they got enough little Twitch streamers that are going to be like, it's a bug. Look at me.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe their whole workaround for the sub forums and what have you is just for your common man, and they look more to the Twitch streamers and YouTubers that actually have video evidence of all these problems, and they can see it from there. It'll get to them. There's all kinds of avenues in which it can get to them. We'll see a change in future, I'm sure.
We'll see. Get better. That's it.
just be better.
Be better. Care about your people. Come on.
Yeah. You're asking a lot here.
I know.
Good Lord. If you enjoy the Merle and Locke podcast, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.